tell me about that original premise of the film, because I think it's really kind of what cracks open the whole piece. And it's how we first learn about you. I mean, and I don't want to spoil the movie, but again, it introduces kind of Event 201, but then you kind of set the premise, which shapes the whole film. And maybe you can just talk about that. And
yeah, we'll keep it really simple. I won't spoil it for the whole film, but let's get the simple facts. Number one, April 25th, 2003, the CDC lied to the American people and to the world. And they lied when they filed a patent saying that they could patent the SARS coronavirus isolated from humans. That was a lie, and it was a violation of the United States 35 U.S. Code Section 101. So let's just get it out there. The CDC lied, and the CDC broke the law. They filed a patent on nature, which they cannot do, and then they lied about it by saying that the reason they did it was to make sure no one could commercialize SARS coronavirus. That wasn't just a lie. They had the intent to commercialize it. And let me back that one up. Because in 2005, the patent office told them that they couldn't have their patent. They actually rejected the CDC patent. The CDC didn't want to hear that their patent couldn't be rejected, and so they decided to appeal, and they sent new information in, and they did all sorts of other hand-wringing exercises, and they failed to convince the patent examiner, and once again, they got the patent rejected in a final rejection saying you can't have the patent. The Center for Disease Control, if they wanted that virus information to be available in the public for research and not for commercial use, could have stopped right there, hit print, said, we're making it available, nobody gets to patent it, it's now in the public domain, and by doing that, they would have emancipated the ability to research coronavirus to the point where we could actually detect how much is circulating in the population. But they doubled down. And in 2007, they paid to have the examiner at the patent office overruled to issue that patent. All the while lying to the American people, saying that this was being done so nobody could control the commercial interest of coronavirus. Now, the reason I'm saying they lied is because if you actually look at their own submissions to the United States Patent Office, they fought to maintain the commercial control of coronavirus, while their spokesperson was out in front of all the media saying, we're just trying to help, we're just trying to make this available. Fundamental patent law tells you that if you publish something with an enabling disclosure, no one ever gets to patent it. If they were serious, if they were telling the truth, they could have hit print, but they didn't. They locked it up. And why did they lock it up? Because it turns out that there was a internal Department of Health and Human Services fight about infectious diseases. Because in 2005, everybody at NIH realized that DARPA was getting in the game. And the Defense Advanced Research Program was going to start shoveling a lot of money towards infectious diseases. Ralph Baric in 2005 started talking about how the coronavirus was this wonderfully manipulatable virus, which you could make chimeric combinations, and you could make recombinant combinations, and you could make synthetic versions which amplify different attributes of the virus. And DARPA started funding it, and it turns out that the CDC wanted to have a seat at the table, and their patent gave them that seat to control the cash flow of coronavirus, the industry. Now, I don't care how many people hear that statement. I'm going to have fact checkers who then say, well, Dave, you say that their patent was illegal, but it wasn't until 2013 when Myriad Genetics had their patent on a gene ruled invalid by the Supreme Court and ruled that patents on genes were illegal. Little tiny problem, once again, with lawyers who do not read Supreme Court opinions. The Supreme Court specifically said in 2013, and I quote, "We have long held that patents on nature are illegal." Long held. They didn't make up the law in 2013. The law was made up last time I checked. That part of the law was amended in 1988. So Patents on nature were illegal. The CDC violated the law. They entered into this whole scam in a criminal conspiracy and then brought all of the co-conspirators in on the racket. Funding sources, NIH, NIAID, and then when things got too hot in the kitchen in 2012 and 13, when the NIH said, hey, we need a gain of function moratorium because we think there's some things that are going off the rails here. What did they do? They took the US taxpayer dollar and they offshored the research. And in 2013, between 2013 and 2015, Dr. Ralph Barrick at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and the collaborating researchers under Zhengli Shi at Wuhan Institute of Virology started doing a chimeric and synthetic composition of SARS coronavirus with the Wuhan virus #1, which is the closest analog to what's called SARS-CoV-2. They started messing with it between 2013 and 2015, and Anthony Fauci wrote the checks to do it. At no point do we see the CDC objecting to patent infringement. At no point do we see anything other than the CDC complicit with the research, complicit with the researchers, and making sure that not only are they interacting with each other, but to just round out the interlocking directorate problem that we've talked about before, a member of the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill leadership actually sits on the CDC Foundation board, as if illegality didn't matter at all. These are the facts. And the fact is that the CDC, the NIH, and NIAID conspired to defraud taxpayers, conspired to restrain trade, and conspired to make it abundantly clear that they controlled the coronavirus narrative. And they did so even in the face of the 2013 declaration by the Supreme Court that said that it was illegal to have the patent they held.